actually not. Last time we had Miranda, wild torrential storm. So this is a good start for us. So please, as the night goes on, please feel free to grab some food and drink as you need. And like I said, the washrooms are just down here to my left. You're right at the end. We are just so excited to be at the Avenue Room tonight, hosting this really beautiful WESK Connect. I wanted to start by giving a land acknowledgement here. We probably recognize that Saskatoon stands on Treaty 6 territory, a land steeped in the rich history of the Cree and Métis peoples. This territory has long been a place of gathering, a testament to the enduring connection of the Indigenous communities to this land. The knowledge, traditions, and resilience of the Cree and Métis peoples have shaped the very fabric of this region. In the spirit of truth and reconciliation, we confront the painful legacies of colonization and commit to a future built on understanding, respect, and cooperation. We honor the sovereignty of Indigenous nations and embrace their cultural diversity and wisdom as a central piece of Canadian heritage. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I am Kimberly Evans. I am a proud WESK member and owner of Joy Consulting and Experiences. I've been planning events in and around Saskatoon and Western Canada for the past 20 years, and I host the Joy Curator podcast. So this is very fun for me to be able to not just talk to a screen or a wall and actually have a real life person to interview. So thank you so much to the WESK staff and board who are all in attendance. If you are here, so I know we have Golu, Chinwe, Thea, Janelle, Michael, Miriam, and Emma here. Do you want to give a little wave? These are the lovely WESK team. And we also have board chair Rhonda Spencer here. Nice to be able to be here tonight. We're so grateful for the sponsors and the vendors who help make these events possible. I know firsthand as an event planner how much work it takes to put on things, and it feels simple to show up and come, have a glass of wine and eat something, but it takes a lot of effort and energy to gather people, and where effort and energy is put in and great things come out of. So we are so grateful to our presenting sponsor, RBC, our networking sponsor, Virtus Group, and our supporting sponsors, Canadian Western Bank, MNP, the Trade Commissioner Service of Canada, and our beverage sponsor, the NSBA, and our gift sponsor, which we will give away at the end, Peter Lucas Project Management, and to our venue, the Avenue Room, which we are sitting in, as well as our caterer, Calories. We also have the lovely Crystal from Joy Photography here tonight. There she is. So don't be shy. She captures photos of this, and maybe you'll spot yourself on social media at some point soon. So let's give our sponsors a round of applause. So one of the things that is so beautiful about gathering is that we get to celebrate the big, the small, the everything in between moments of all of the incredible things that are happening with women in business across Saskatchewan. So we have a couple celebrations tonight for a few women that are in the crowd. We have Haber-City, Glammed by BP is the organization, who is brand new to entrepreneurship, who is here tonight. Where are you, girl? There. Thank you so much for being here. That is amazing. You're in good company. We also have Casey Minsler of We Manage. Did I say that correctly? Yes. We Manage raised over $1,000 for the Saskatoon Food Bank last month, and has been hired to run an international women's tennis tournament in July. Yay! So if you want to give a little shout out and a hello to those two lovelies at the end, when you're milling around afterwards, let's continue to hold each other up and help each other rise. So the lovely Miranda needs no introduction, but I'm going to give you an introduction. Miranda Young is co-owner of Alt House, a home decor and furniture store, interior design, and murals firm. She has been in the interior designer industry for 10 years and started Alt House in 2019. In March of 2020, her and her partner Joe took on a retail space in Riversdale and expanded to a storefront just weeks before the pandemic. Alt House has been pivoting and expanding ever since, and now has a new retail space in the Broadway area. Well, not super new, now you feel pretty established there, as well as an online store. Miranda continues to do interior design and work for residential and commercial projects, operates the shop, and also assists with some murals with their partner Joe, who is also here. Hi. So welcome.
Oh, thank you.
Lovely to sit with you again. So we had the opportunity to have a conversation a long while back. So we are going to dive even deeper today into some of the things. And we were laughing about this this past week as we were preparing ourselves for this conversation about the fact that both of us were in tears last time. So buckle up.
We'll try not to do that this time.
So for those in the room who are listening who do not know who you are, have not had the pleasure of hearing your story, can you give us just a little bit of a background as to how you got started in entrepreneurship and started Alt House, and just how that journey has taken you from the beginning to where you are right now? Just in a nutshell.
Yeah. Can everyone hear me okay? This mic was being a little touchy earlier. Yeah? Okay, great. So yes, I'm Miranda Young. I am co-owner of Alt House. We have a store and a retail shop, and I do interior design work. And we kind of started the shop almost 5 years ago in March. So just before the pandemic started, we opened a retail space. Very smart, very thoughtful. Yes, so we did that kind of before we realized, obviously, what was going to happen in the coming months, but we've managed to make it through. And yeah, it's kind of like just a journey of entrepreneurship that started when I was very young. My mom is actually here in the audience. Shout out to Mom. She is also an entrepreneur, interior decorator. She had her own shops while I was growing up, so I definitely grew up in that mindset and in that life, and I was very lucky to be exposed to that when I was very young. And yeah, she definitely opened my eyes to what it could be owning your own business and kind of creating the life that you want, rather than working for someone. And so that was the inspiration to start my own business. Alt House kind of started as an interior design firm because I'm an interior designer, and then it kind of grew into this shop when we found a space in Riversdale. And since then, we've just kind of been pivoting and growing since. So yeah.
Love it. So I know you already talked a little bit about the inspiration behind starting. That's amazing. I look forward to the day someday that my daughter is up here telling me that I somehow maybe inspired her. We'll see.
I'm sure you have.
So running a brick and mortar store is not for the weak of heart at the best. And you and Joe just buckled up and started it going.
Yep.
And lo and behold, lightning strikes, and we are in the middle of something none of us have ever lived through before. What do you feel? I mean, you started it so quickly. I feel like you can't really know anything but the pandemic, because you had mere moments before it hit, and you didn't really get the opportunity to dive in prior. What would you say have sort of been, we'll call them additional challenges, because there's always challenges in business, with just starting a retail space? And now you've relocated, you're just off Broadway. Your space is just so adorable and beautiful. And if you need to spark joy, which is always where I come to in my business, you just walk through the doors, you just walk in, and you look around, and their space is just joy blasted everywhere. It is the most charming place. So if you haven't stopped in there, go in, because it will just make you happy just to enter, let alone to get to have a conversation with them while you're in there. So what have been some of the challenges? I mean, moving a space,
Yeah.
you started in one, and now I guess we can talk present day even still too.
Yeah.
So start where you wish, from back then to current challenges.
Yeah. We've had a lot of challenges, and we continue to have challenges. And I think that's, what it is having a business. Unfortunately, it's not going to be easy breezy lemon squeezy all the time. It's just not. But yeah, we started our shop right, like actually 2 weeks before COVID. So 2 weeks after we had kind of like put everything we had into this business, we had to close our doors for like 3 months. We weren't able to get any assistance from the government or any rent help or anything like that, because we didn't really have the financials to back us up at that point. But it really built like a resilience in our business and in ourselves, I think. And we were able to see, I'm already, don't get me started. No, I'm not gonna cry, I'm good. Yeah. So it definitely built a resilience and like an ability to pivot in our business. And one good thing that kind of came out of those challenges when we first started was us kind of starting an online store. And we probably wouldn't have done that if we didn't have the challenges of the pandemic. And so we started our online store right when we started the retail shop. And now we get orders from all over the place. So that's really cool, and it's really exciting. Every order we get continues to be like such an exciting thing. It's true what they say when you do like a little happy dance when you get an order, when you're in retail or any small business. It's very true. And yeah, we've had a lot of challenges through the years, starting and learning and growing and trying different things, and always kind of trying to figure out what works best for us. And that has been really challenging, but we're here, and yeah, we don't want to go anywhere. So we're just trying to pivot as we go.
Mm-hmm. So what would you say, like, for those who are also, I think we're always sort of reflecting on our own businesses as we hear somebody talk about their business. What would you say to date right now with just like, not even necessarily just brick and mortar or online store or anything, but just business in general? What would you say have been, some challenges even right now that you're like, maybe we don't even have the answers to these things yet? I think sometimes we're so quick to, I think we're getting better at talking about challenges and stuff, but I think sometimes we want to talk about them once we've already solved them, rather than like get into that messy middle piece of it where you're like, we're still in this. Like, we actually don't have this figured out right now. And maybe we won't for a while yet, but just, sharing that. I know you're always so brave about sharing all your answers, so I hope it's okay that I'm asking.
Yeah, I think just realizing that we're all kind of in the middle of this, and like the economy is really challenging right now. I think a lot of people don't have like the disposable incomes they once had. People are paying more on their mortgages, on their rent, on their bills, and they're not making more. So it's challenging trying to figure out how to, work with different sorts of people and allow your business to be more of like, I don't want it to just be for the people that can afford a sofa, so that's been important to us, and just having like a diversity of things that we carry and being able to serve a larger kind of demographic, and just being more accessible to people in all different groups and being welcoming to people in all different groups. That kind of answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. And it leads exactly into what I wanted to talk to you about next. I feel like that has been a pillar of your business model from the get-go, in just wanting it to be an inclusive space, wanting, like you just said, you don't want just somebody with a lot of money to be able to come in and buy a couch, but you just want the doors of your brick and mortar store to be a place that people feel they can just walk into and feel what you guys are exuding every day in your business just by being present in there. So as this community hub, how is, as a business owner, and sort of putting that piece of it into a model, because not everybody does, like not everybody has that thought process in their business. So how have you incorporated that in the first place, and maybe why, and the background of where that's come from for you, and why it's just been so important for you and Joe to be active members within the community and creating that safe space?
Yeah. I think as a queer business owner, you definitely face a unique set of challenges, just navigating the world and fitting into certain spaces. You sometimes feel a little bit uncomfortable. Sometimes, like I know in the past that I've been, in situations at previous workplaces where my life wasn't necessarily like, it wasn't really okay that I was the way I was. And like that's something that has definitely formed our business and is super important to us because everyone comes from different backgrounds and segments, and we all need to have a place where we feel welcome, and unfortunately not all spaces are like that. So creating that space has been crucial to us, and making sure that all demographics feel welcome in our space. I don't want just the upper middle class person to feel like they can come in. I want everyone to feel welcome and everyone to feel like they can be a part of something. And I think a big kind of thing we've done over the last year, we did kind of we added a coffee shop into our shop, which has been amazing and we've really liked having. Unfortunately, we just weren't able to keep that up with everything going on, and so we actually did close the coffee shop portion of our shop last week. But that's just learning and growing and pivoting, unfortunately. And it's like you need to just figure out what is working and what's not working and what's going to make your business sustainable for the long term, because not everything is going to work, and you need to be able to like go with those flows, because it's not always going to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like maintaining that like community hub has been important to us, and we will continue to be that for people, just like having events. And we want to make sure that we're still active in the community and not just a store, but we want to be part of the community, because we are part of the community.
Yeah, I love that. So what would you say, like, besides the fact that this is obviously something that you are very passionate about and it comes from, personal experiences, things that you've felt in your life and therefore don't want others to have to feel certain things, and you're just wanting to open the doors for people to feel welcome. How specifically have you, I guess, either worked with other organizations or other businesses or other individuals to specifically kind of create that for your business? If somebody was in here tonight thinking, okay, I really want to be able to give back to something that's important to me in the community, or have my business be a part of something, whatever that may be, how did you go about? It's hard day to day. Sometimes you're working in your business, you're working on your business. There's all these things going on, and then to also have that piece of community minded and giving back, which often doesn't have any type of financial compensation. You're doing it because you're passionate about it and you want to, but it's hard to kind of juggle all those things in business. So how would you say that you kind of connected the dots to figure out, how do we make our business something that is very community minded, and how do we let people know that this is what we're all about?
I guess for me, it's kind of come naturally. Like it's just like a feeling more so than a specific dollar amount. Like we do give to a lot of different organizations all the time, but it's not really about that. It's just about being present in your community and like going to the things and supporting other people, and like just being a part of that community. Like I don't know how better to explain that, but like go to the events, like find the things that relate to you and be a part of them. It doesn't need to be a financial thing. It can be just a community thing, right? And you are part of the community.
Yeah, I love that. I think sometimes it can feel overwhelming to feel like there's so many things. I mean, I think naturally, I would imagine most of us as entrepreneurs, I know you're like this, because we talked about this, and I'm like this too. You have so many ideas and so many things going on, and it's like I feel like Saskatoon and Saskatchewan specifically are like we're not scared to try something. You know,
Yeah.
we're not scared to just dive in and try something. And most of the time, 99% of the time, we have no idea what it's really going to do. And I love that you shared that about the coffee shop too, because while I'm sure it was very bittersweet for you to feel like you had to close it, and thank you for sharing that with us. It's one of those things where it's like, would you still be thinking about it and percolating about it and like wondering what if had you not started it, you know, and just trying it and figuring out and see what it does. And I'm sure it probably shifted other ideas and thoughts in your business based on how it went in its successes and in things that maybe felt hard.
Yeah, I think you have to do the things you're afraid of. And we were just talking about this earlier, how like every time I speak or every time I do karaoke, every time I sing or whatever, I'm shaking. Like I can feel myself shaking, and it's like, it's about doing the things. It's about doing the things that are hard, even if they're hard. Like you have to do things that you're not ready to do, or else you'll never do them.
Absolutely. So, I want to jump back a little bit to talking about the e-commerce and versus the in-store experience. We'll change gears and we'll come back to a few things. Whether or not somebody, like those of you who have businesses that are, maybe you do have a brick and mortar, maybe you're e-commerce, maybe you're in something totally different, doesn't matter. What for you have been, I guess, you know, things that are successes and challenges, and even just managing the brick and mortar versus the e-commerce and online like type of store? And I don't know, maybe just your thoughts on like what has worked for your business.
Yeah, I think that having an online store in combination with the retail store makes a lot of sense. I think it's very smart to set up an online store and an online presence for your store, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know how things are going to pivot. And if you have that, you have a backup. And it also makes like managing inventory and stuff like that a lot easier too, when you're able to put everything online as well and have a platform that kind of works for both. We use Shopify in our store, and that's been really good for us. It is, yeah, it's nice to have both. I think that I don't think we could have just an online store at this point. Like I think we would have to put a lot more energy into marketing and a lot more money into marketing probably in order for that to be like successful, super successful on its own. And I think the major challenge of retail is just having someone there every day, and the amount of work that is to maintain and the expenses. And yeah, like brick and mortar is really hard, and it's hard to keep up, right? Because it's labor intensive and it requires you to be there every day and be on call every day, right? So yeah, I think, yeah, they're both important and they both work well together. And I think that it's really great that we set up our online store when we did, and we were able to kind of maintain it. And I think going forward, we'll like definitely put a lot of energy into keeping that going. And yeah, it's nice when you can kind of have all of your inventory online as well, because it allows, yeah, like pivots to happen, right? When people aren't shopping and out and about, they can shop online. And it's also like you're not just relying on your center. So you can get clients from elsewhere too. And I think that's important too.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love hearing some of those really positive things that come out when something's really challenging, where you're just like, it's now or never. We're going to set the store up, and like you said, had the pandemic not happened and you didn't really have that like push, maybe you would have set it up, but maybe not, because there's just not that like do or die. I think all of us as entrepreneurs sometimes have that like work well under pressure. Not that that's an ideal situation, but also, so within your industry, like being an entrepreneur, being a creative entrepreneur
Mhm.
has its own kind of niche within being an entrepreneur. And I know that I know a lot of you here, and there are a lot of creatives in the room. And it can come with some unique challenges because I feel like I'm a bit of a hybrid. My planning events is very creative, but I'm also like a very linear type A thinking kind of person. So I feel like I can kind of relate to both sides to a certain degree sometimes. But I know with like some of my creative friends and talking about the business side of things, it's a very different pillar that you fall under. And, you know, like your brain is thinking so creatively sometimes that you might not always find that you fit in the places, you know, we've talked about this before. So how would you say that sort of you've overcome some of those things or have leaned into just being a creative entrepreneur versus other industries, and how you've kind of used that maybe to your as a superpower versus something?
Yeah, I think the creative mind and also maybe the neurodivergent mind, those both like play into different things with having a business. Like I definitely have serious ADHD, and that's absolutely fine. It is my superpower in a way that I can do so much. Like I'm a superhuman when it comes to doing stuff, you know? And I think that Joe's like that too. I think we both have like crazy ideas and it works, right? And just being able to, and yeah, mom too. Doesn't come from nowhere. It's all here, yeah. I'm sure we all have some, different forms of things, you know, and it's good to lean into that and also be aware that people on your team might have different like things going on too, and just being there for them and figuring out how to work with that rather than against that, I think is good. And when it comes to the creative mind and honing the creative mind, and that's kind of why we have gone so many different directions. And, you know, you figure out what works and what doesn't work, and that's okay. It's okay to make mistakes, and it's okay to learn and grow. And if our store was the same as it was 5 years ago, it probably wouldn't be here still. You know, like we all need to hone in on what's working and what's not working, right? And you can have a million creative ideas and you throw them all on the wall and you see what sticks, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love how you worded that, because I feel like this can, whether you're a creative entrepreneur or not, I feel like figuring out how you are as an individual, and I talk about this a lot in business circles and just with friends too, of just bringing your personal and your professional life and figuring out how that balance. I think so often, and we've talked about this before, but so often you sort of feel, at least when I started 20 plus years ago, it didn't feel like that was maybe allowed.
Yeah,
you know?
100%.
Like you just didn't feel like that was what you do. You very much just keep it professional.
Yeah.
Don't dare talk about what may have come up in your personal life the day before that might be causing you to feel a bit rattled today, because you just keep it straight laced and you don't want to like ruffle any feathers.
Yeah.
I think we're ready to ruffle some feathers.
Yeah, I think like you're working 8 hours a day. Why would you want to fake it for 8 hours a day? Like you have to be who you are while you're at work, because otherwise, what's the point? Like,
it's exhausting.
Yeah, I don't want to have to pretend I'm someone else. I don't want to have to fit into this box of what you want me to be, because I'm not going to be that. I'm never going to be that. And you can keep pretending, but you're not going to go anywhere with that. Like, I think the success is in merging those two things and being true to who you are as a person. And that's why we started businesses, right? Because we didn't want to have to fit into someone else's mold, right? So stay true to that in your own business.
That is exactly it. I think entrepreneurs in general, it's not for the weak of heart.
No.
Running a business, but that's why we haven't chosen that corporate path, you know, like we don't want that 9 to 5. I'm a tiger in a cage, you know, I can't do it.
Yeah, totally.
You will not get the best of me. That is worse.
No way. Yeah.
You know, so I think to be able to recognize that about yourself and to know what works for you and what doesn't. I think that's where we see kind of, whether it be in corporate world, entrepreneur world, like doesn't matter, where you just see a lot of burnout. Because I think we're trying so hard to fit into what we think someone else needs us to be. And that is the most glorious part about owning a business, especially when, it's a small team or like business partners or whatever, and you get to just decide what you want that to look like.
Yeah.
And you don't have to kind of follow any type, you are the mold. There isn't something that you need to fit into. And I think if more people were able to just step into that. And I hope after hearing what you're saying today that they, were thinking about things differently and able to kind of step into that and figure out what does work for us, no matter what type of workplace we're part of.
Yeah. Authenticity is the key to success, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you are a shining example of that. So thank you. So what advice would you give to whether it's aspiring business owners, all of us are at different stages here. We have new entrepreneurs, we have seasoned business owners that, even in 20 plus years, my business is ever evolving. I used to think there was some sort of finish line on what the evolvement was. And to date, there is no finish line. So what advice would you give, for people, maybe there's people in the room today who are even, maybe they have a business already, maybe they're more in a corporate world, or maybe they have certain hobbies or passions or interests that they're like, could I turn this into something? Or maybe this could be more, if you feel excited about it, but you're kind of stall yourself sometimes because you just aren't quite sure what the next right step is.
Yeah.
What advice would you give people thinking in that regard?
I think the main thing, and I kind of said it earlier, but is like not to wait until you're ready, because you're never gonna be fully ready. I think so often people just don't do anything ever because they're waiting to be ready. But you're not, there's always gonna be something that comes up. You're never gonna be the absolute best at anything. So you might as well just do it when you want to do it and not be afraid so much of doing the hard thing, because there's always going to be hard things. And I think following your the things that you're passionate about is that's what we need more of in this world. Is we need more people doing things that they're passionate about and that they're excited about, and we will have a better world if people are just true to themselves and support each other. And that's all we need.
Ooh. I love that. Miranda, you are just a gem, and I love and appreciate so much how you just wear your heart on your sleeve and share. I know that it is not easy we always want to I think human nature is to want to, not necessarily share the hard things. And I think the more we lean into sharing the hard things, we realize, I see everybody nodding around the room, oh, right. You just help them realize that they're not alone too.
Yeah, we're all going through hard things.
Yeah, we're all going through hard things. And I agree with you. I feel I don't know about anyone else in here, but you alluded to it, and I was thinking it as I walked in tonight. Even business feels difficult.
It is. Yeah,
it feels really hard.
Yeah.
And I don't recall. Post-pandemic, lots of things have been different than before, but in this particular month and past couple months, I know for sure, it just feels harder. It feels harder to, grab some of those contracts or the pieces that you feel you need. It feels harder to connect. The weather is not helpful where we live. And it just, January really does have that feel around it. I don't know if anyone else is feeling this, but I sure am. And it just, it feels hard. So I think this is such a great time to be able to be out at something like this and to be, just reminded that you're not alone in these things, and to reach out and just keep building this community around us, because we do have so many incredible entrepreneurs, and you never know what those kind of just a connection or a conversation or a coffee or, just bumping into somebody at the charcuterie table, what those kinds of things can do. So I think we all just need to continue sticking together. So if that
Mhm.
means sending a message to somebody out tonight that you've met or talked to, and just do the little things
Mhm.
that can kind of spark new ways of thinking and direction.
Yeah, it's a hard world out there. So it's we're all we have, and I think that community is so important, especially when like everything outside around you feels super chaotic and scary. We need to stick together and we need to support each other. And I think really banding together and making sure that we're supporting local and we're doing everything we can to support each other, because what's the alternative? Like, do we want a world that's just big box stores and chains? Because that's where we're going. If we don't take care of each other and support each other, that's where we're going. And then we're all going to be miserable. So let's go towards the world we want, and every purchase counts, everything counts. So just being more aware of that, I think, in our own lives is super important.
Okay, this question isn't on the list. I'm going rogue.
We're all going rogue at
going
this
rogue.
point.
If there was like one or two things right now, if you could handpick what you wish somebody would come and do in your business right now, like what do you need?
What do I need?
We'll stick to professional.
What am I going to say? I think it's that supporting local thing.
Yeah,
like, come in the shop. Like, come in the shop, come check it out. If you haven't been to our store, come check it out. If you're not interested, that's okay. Go to another shop. Go find another locally owned shop that you are interested in. Go to a local restaurant. You don't need to go to the chains. They are doing fine. Like if you're gonna go to the grocery store, maybe go to the shop down the street from you instead and spend the same amount of money there as you would spend at the grocery shop, and see how that makes a difference, right? And I think, yeah, we all just want to survive, so let's support each other.
You heard it here. Love it. Miranda, thank you so much. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you. Well, my brain I feel like it's always different being in the live conversation, and then I like go and watch it and listen to it afterwards, and just all of
I can't even watch it. No.
I'll give you the full note. How amazing you are. So we have a little gift box for you from Queen City Gifts. Is that here somewhere? Oh, it's this right here.
This here? Thank you.
That's for you, hon.
That's so nice.
And then we do have a little prize draw as well for somebody here. Do we have I have the prize. Do we have the list? Oh, are we doing this in a digital format? Ooh, Crystal Thorhawk, where are you, girl? You have won. Come on up and grab your WESK swag bag valued at $150, and it also has a mug from the pottery. So thank you again to our presenting sponsor, RBC, our networking sponsor, Virtus Group, our beverage sponsor, NSBA, and supporting sponsors, Canadian Western Bank, Trade Commissioner Service, and MNP, as well as to the Avenue Room and Calories, and to Joy Photography. We have so many things going on at WESK. So if you want to check out the WESK website, there are events and workshops and webinars, so many things. So there is an upcoming virtual workshop on leveraging AI. We have WESK loans and info sessions so that you can figure out and see if you may be able to secure up to $150,000 in financing if that is something that you are needing in your business. There are virtual mentor Q&As with Thoughtful Co. and virtual monthly mentor sessions with Tanya Woods Richardson. There's just a very limited spots available there. So there is so many things on the website. If you go to wesk.ca/events, They're all listed up there. And the big WESK Gala is coming up in May, May 17th, and it is in Regina this year. So get your tickets. They're available. They're online. Save the date. As well as leading up to that, there are award nominations and applications available on the website so that you can apply and business for the WESK Award. So check that out. I know that sometimes it takes some effort to nominate and to fill those applications and to do the things, but for somebody to be able to receive a nomination, if you have the ability to know somebody in business or work with somebody, or, you know, just see women that are making a difference, it really does make, and rise women up in order for us to be able to do that. So consider taking the time, put it on your to-do list so that you don't forget after you've heard me say it just now, and get yourself on the website to check out all of the WESK. So we have this space until 7 o'clock. So we wanted to leave some room for mingling and networking and building those connections. Maybe shed a tear, have a laugh, have another glass of wine or a drink. And thank you again, Miranda.
Thank you so much. Such a pleasure.